Hi everyone, my name is Guangyu Dong. Today I'm going to talk about interpreters. The topics I'm going to cover are a brief introduction of the interpreter and its different parts, and the comparison between a interpreter and a compiler. Then we're going to look into some data types and abstract syntax tree that needed in the interpreter. After that, we're gonna try to build our own interpreter in Haskell code. So interpreter is mainly a program that reads the code in a programming language and execute it. It then need to convert the code into machine code and pre-compile it. So there are mainly four parts of the interpreter. First of all, we need a parser to pass the code into abstract syntax tree, and then the evaluator to process the syntax tree and transform the expressions into values. Then also we need an environment to put all the values of different variables. And also we need a top level function to tie all this together, to read, to eval, to print, and to loop. So what's the difference between an interpreter and a compiler? So what a compiler do is to scan the whole program before execute it and translate it into a machine code. And the interpreter will translate one statement at a time. Overall, time-wise, the compiler take longer time to analyze the code, but it will execute faster because the machine will execute the low-level code. The interpreter will analyze the code faster, but execution is slower. Memory-wise, interpreter will not generate intermediate code, so it will save memory usage. Um, and it will make it easier to debug because it will execute the code while interpret it, so you know which part of the code gets wrong. There are three basic data types here I want to introduce for the interpreter. The first one is the val data type. It is a constructor of interval, and it takes an integer as a parameter, and basically what it does is store an integer value inside. The second is expression. There are two kinds of expressions here. Uh, the first one is an integer expression. Basically, it also takes an integer and makes it a expression. And the second is integer operator expression. It takes three parameters. The first one is the operator. The second and the third are two expressions that the operator perform on. And the last data type I want to introduce is the environment. It's a list of a bunch of tuples. Basically, it stores all the variable values in the environment. Previously, we mentioned abstract syntax tree. Um, it is generated by the parser, so our eval function can evaluate the expressions based on it. So here is an example of a simple uh, integer operation expression syntax tree. So on the left side we have expression, integer expression. On the right side is also an integer expression, and in between there's an operator. So our eval function will recognize it and consume it and return the result. Here is a more advanced version of abstract syntax tree. We can see the parser recursively parsing the tree, and our eval function will also recursively read it and process it. So what it will do is, first of all, it has the operator of plus. Then it will read the left side, return the result of 2, and then it will read the right side as expression. The expression's result is 3 multiply 4 equals 12, and it will return the result as integer expression and plus it with 2 on the left side. Now let's try to build our own interpreter. Here's the code for a very simple interpreter that can do arithmetic operations between integers. The first part is data types, the 3 data types, basic data types we just introduced before. And the second part is the evaluator. The evaluator basically takes expression and environment and return a val. So when the input is integer expression, it basically returns the integer. When the input is operation expression, basically it first look up the operator in our dictionary and return it as a function, and it will pass a function and e1 and e2 to the lift int operation. The lift int operation will do is to apply the function on e1 and e2 and return the result as an integer val. So let's take a look at some examples. Now let's run our code. The first example I want to show is simply a integer expression and the empty environment. So it will just return the integer. The second is a very simple multiply operation between two integers. So it will return the result. The third example is a little complicated. Its third argument is not an integer val, but it's also an integer operation expression. So what the eval function will do is take the first 2 arguments and it will also evaluate the third argument and return the result of it, which is 4 multiplied 5 is 20. So it will plus 3 and 20 and return the result. That's everything I want to share on this topic. Thank you everyone for watching.